Hi, it's Renee again, and welcome to my channel, A Lot to Tell. I don't know if some of you are familiar with the case of O'Donnell versus Harris County. I didn't even know that that case existed. I was just doing some researches on cases that were similar to mine here in the Harris County area. And I ran up on O'Donnell versus Harris County and read a little bit about it. This young lady that was like in her early 20s and was arrested because she didn't pay for some tickets. Please forgive me if I'm wrong. I'm only going by what I remember, and I'm trying not to say blame it on old age, but it might be. But anyway, this young lady did a class action suit with a lot of people relating to the unfairness of Harris County arresting particularly black people and people of color and putting them in jail because they didn't pay for their tickets. But they didn't do that with anybody else, and they made them stay in jail until they was able to pay. And some of them have children to take care of, so that was horrible. But the case went on, I think, for more than 4 years, but they actually won that lawsuit. And I noticed a few names, in the petition, as well as the summary judgments and all of that. And one in particular, the name drew my attention, and it was a commissioner of Texas. And this is the one I mentioned before, where I went to him and I asked him for help, and he treated me like I was crap. And the thing is, he was involved in this lawsuit, so that doesn't mean that he had to pay, but for some reason he was a part of this. And being a commissioner entails a lot, with that position. But anyway, they actually won that case, and it went up to a lot of money. I also looked up to what codes and chapters did this O'Donnell use, and she actually used the same ones that I submitted in. So the reason why I went to the commissioner, because I'm like, my codes for protection relating to constitutional rights matches the O'Donnell versus Harris County. And I sent this commissioner an email. They never responded to that email, so one day I went to their office in person. Found out I went to an office downtown that they rarely ever be in, and the security officer gave me the address to their new location. The security officer also mentioned that you ought to see their building. It's beautiful and it's big. And I just looked at him in a certain way, and he just started laughing because, yes, that building doesn't mean anything to me. What means something to me is the people that are working in that office that's supposed to be looking out for our behalf. So I went there one day, put in a complaint. 2 women came out, wanted to see the proof that I had sent a certified letter to them at a certain time, and nobody ever responded to that letter. So it was almost like they thought I was telling a lie. So I showed them the day I sent the email, and then I had the receipts where I sent it certified, and somebody signed it. So they told me the commissioner was going to get in touch with me. They were going to work on it. Everything will be fine. Just give them some time to work on it. After a month, just after a month, I still hadn't heard anything. So I went to the office, wanted to speak to the lady that said she would contact me. They said they couldn't find her. But I see the commissioner just a few feet away from me talking to some important people. You can tell they're important just by the way they dressed and the way he was communicating with them. I guess I wasn't dressed good enough. So I even asked the lady at the front desk, I said, why are you trying to reach her? I said, the commissioner is right there. Is there any way I can go speak to the commissioner? Oh, I don't think you can do anything like that. That's what she kept on saying. I said, but he's right here, and I can address that concern unless he has a meeting. No, I don't think he has another meeting. I just don't think you should interrupt him. So I thought about it, and I thought about it. My phone rang. I went outside. Right after the commissioner left with this other person, I went outside and I talked to some people on the phone, and I let it go. The commissioner and this other lady was standing out there in the yard, just basically talking and communicating. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try to see if I can say something to this person. Anyway, after all, my vote was important, right? When we vote, our votes are important. So he should be fine. So I walked down toward where they were, and I looked over at him and I said, Commissioner, please help me. I said, I've emailed you and I've sent a certified letter to you. I said, Please help me because I need the help. And that's the reason why you're in the office. You cannot keep ignoring us. And then he looks at me strange like I wasn't never supposed to say anything to him, especially when he was standing there with someone else. But whoever this other person was, at the time I didn't care. I needed the help. And if y'all going to ignore me, I'm just going to address it any way that I can. God said, be bold as a lion. Well, I'm one of those. And so he says, don't worry about it. We'll take care of it. So I walked off. I went in my car. I even shed a few tears, because I hate it when people treat me a certain way when all I asked you for was help. H-E-L-P. I didn't ask you for nothing else. After I get out of the car, the commissioner is standing on one side, and it looked like he's calling some gentleman over towards him. I walked past him, and I went back to the door and figured, well, this lady probably got the information that I need. I'm going to go back in there. Guess what? It wasn't even time for the office to close, but that door was locked. And I kept pulling on it, and I'm like, I know the lady see me on the outside. And I kept tugging, still couldn't get in. So I look at the commissioner, and I said, the door is locked, I can't get in. He said, you don't need to get in. I can't explain how hurt I felt. With him talking to me like that, I didn't have no guns, I didn't have no weapons, I didn't scream, I didn't shout, I didn't disrespect myself or him or the office. Somebody say, well, you probably disrespected him asking him a question, but you're the commissioner of Harris County. You look for our votes. Why can't I ask you a question if I see you right then and there in person? Are you so of royalty that I'm supposed to back off and not say anything to you? So I guess he called this man. Imagine that, 2 men scared of a little woman. I'm only 5'4". And as I'm walking past him, don't worry, we're going to do something about that. I didn't look at him, didn't say anything to him. I just felt like in my heart, I knew I wasn't going to get any help from this man. I mean, after all, I've been doing this more than 20 years. Why would I get any help from him? When he was senator, I mentioned to him about the State Bar of Texas and talked to a young lady named Ariel who no longer works there. You ignored me as a senator. Now you're in a higher position. And you're still ignoring the people that vote you in office unless you are someone of importance. That's the only time they're going to give their attention to them. That, like I said, they don't even, now I'm coming back in on the voting part, but they done got so comfortable. It used to be a time where these potential candidates, or they want re-election, they will meet you outside, shake your hand. What is it we can do? That. They done got so comfortable over the last 15 years. They ain't got to say nothing. They just figure and automatically assume they have all votes. And for them to still be in office, evidently they still have those votes. They said whether you vote or you don't vote, you still just use your voice. I'm tired of voting for people that say one thing and don't do nothing. So with his name being on that case, I actually sent the email to him and I wrote it in there. And I finally got a response after he treated me like crap that came from the lady I've been looking for over a month. Oh, I'm sorry. There's nothing that we could do. We cannot help you. They say in court, I rest my case.